Welcome back to The Blind Homemaker. I'm super excited that you're here. I'm doing something really fun today. It's Veterans Day. We're in the time machine, okay? So I know you're seeing this way after Veterans Day, but my husband is a combat vet and we're gonna have some people over today, and I want to show you how you can throw a dinner party as a blind homemaker. So first, I'm gonna start with dessert, the best part. So I'm making a coffee cake. I'm making a apple butter coffee cake, and then we're gonna do an eggnog frosting. So this is just a very basic kind of recipe for a coffee cake. I made this apple butter a few days ago from scratch, very proud of it. So I'm gonna do about a cup of this apple butter in my KitchenAid. Thanks, Mom. I love having a KitchenAid. It's not necessary though. You can even whip this by hand, and that's totally fine. All right, apple butter in. Next, I'm gonna do my eggs. So you typically do 2 eggs, but my chickens are laying eggs of all different sizes. So I have 1 big one and 2 small ones. They have super thick eggshells, which is good. That means they're super healthy. Some people feed their chickens back their eggshells, but ours, we only have hens, and they have calcium in their feed. So I'm not going to do that. I'll wash my hands real quick. You know, safety first and all that. Now, we are going to add a 1.5 cups of flour. Don't pack your flour either. Okay. I'm gonna estimate 1/2 cup because I do not want to dirty another measuring cup. Nobody got time for that. My whisk is huge. KitchenAid. Next, we're gonna do 1/2 cup of sugar. Don't judge me over this sugar now. It's a dessert. If I was doing it as a breakfast, I'd probably use maple syrup, but we're not, so I'm not. I have this huge thing of baking soda. I use baking soda to clean too, so we're gonna add a teaspoon of baking soda. We're getting there. Next, couple pinches of salt. You gotta put salt in your sweet stuff. It helps bring out the flavor. I'm gonna do about 3 good pinches. There we go. And now 1/4 cup of oil. Don't use vegetable oil. That stuff is terrible for you. I'm using avocado oil, and it's a 1/4 cup. I'm not using a measuring cup. I'm just gonna measure with my heart. Don't do that unless you're used to it. All right, now I'm just going to start blending this up, and then I'm gonna add enough water until it's the right consistency. And that also takes a little bit of practice, but depending on if you're using like a liquid sweetener and with the apple butter, we gotta have to see how it comes together. Okay, we got to a good consistency. I ended up adding about a splash or 2 of spiced apple cider that I had. So very excited. It's a good consistency. You can add walnuts to this, pecans if you want. I'm not gonna do that though. Next thing you need to do is I've got a muffin, or not a muffin, I've got a loaf pan. And I'm going to take some avocado spray, and I'm gonna spray it very, very liberally. I would usually use maybe lard, but we do have someone coming who does not eat pork, so I'm not gonna use that. But I'm gonna spray this extremely liberally because you want this loaf to pop out of this pan. So I'm gonna do it over the sink so I don't make a huge mess. And I also, as everything was mixing together, I picked up my mess because the key to keeping your kitchen functioning is to clean as you go. It's very important. All right, this sucker is sprayed to the heavens. So now I'm going to pour my batter in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to line up, I'm holding the bowl with my left hand. It has a handle on it, which is really nice. And I'm gonna use my right hand to line up the bowl to my left hand so I don't end up getting this all over my counter. And then I have my little spatula that I'm gonna scrape down my bowl with. It's just that easy. I'm not Betty Crocker. And then I'm going to pop this in a 350 degree oven. That's my cat. For about 45 minutes to an hour. This thing takes a long time, okay? And you can stick a toothpick in there in the middle and feel it and see if it comes out clean. And when it does, you're finished, baby. So I'm gonna show you something I worked on last night. I wanted to do, we have grass-fed beef roast, but I knew they were going to take a while, especially because they were par frozen. So I had them going last night and they're on just the keep warm mode right now. So I have them in my crock pot, and it's a pretty good amount of meat. It smells really good, but I just did the roast and I like crusted the outside of them in Montreal steak seasoning. You can stick them on the stove and brown the outside. I didn't. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the bones out of these because we're making black-eyed peas. I'd usually do ham hocks, but we're not doing pork today. So I am gonna pull the bones out of this and add it to the black-eyed peas when I get that going. But first, for the black-eyed peas, I am going to chop up some onion. And yes, blind people can chop onions. I actually kind of wish I had prosthetics because I have some friends with prosthetics and they say that they don't cry when they cut onions. So I'm actually a little jealous. So all I'm doing right now is I'm cutting the ends off. I have one yellow onion and one red onion. That's just what I have right now. Do whatever you want, use whatever you want. It's your kitchen, your rules, right? So I cut the ends off and now I'm just gonna take off the skin. And this is the part that annoys me because it takes a long time and I'm impatient.
6.5 hours later.
So now these are peeled, my eyes are watering, it's all just dandy here. So we are going to chop the onion in half and we are gonna lay it cut side down on the cutting board. And we are going to make horizontal slices first, but you're gonna use your hand to hold all these slices together, okay? Don't let them just fall willy-nilly on the cutting board. Now what I'm doing is I'm slicing the onion horizontally, like from my body horizontally, but I'm holding the onion slices together. Don't just let them like fall willy-nilly on your cutting board. You're gonna need to keep them together. Now, after you have your horizontal slices, you're gonna do vertical slices. And that's how you chop an onion. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Tuck your fingers in, pay attention. That's really all she wrote. And just practice. Don't be scared. You're gonna be fine. No big deal. And at the end of the day, it's just an onion. I'm gonna do that with the other half, and I'll do that with the whole other onion too. And if your onion slices aren't small enough for you, you can just run through and do like a rough chop on top of what you've already chopped. Pull the tip of your knife down, and then just have the handle part go up and down. Run it through your onions. Bada bing, bada boom. That's all she wrote. All right, I've recovered a little bit. Speaking of my watery red eyes, I do have my makeup on and my hair done, but I'm wearing comfy cookie clothes. So this is not what I plan on wearing. I just don't want to wear what I'm wearing tonight right now. So if I look like a hobo, that's why. But come on over to my stove. I put the black-eyed peas in my pot last night with some water because it's important to soak your beans. So I have a colander in the sink and I'm gonna pour these in the colander, and then we are going to caramelize our onions. So I always set my pot down on the corner of my counter and make sure I can feel where my colander is, just so I know everything's lined up properly and I don't accidentally pour my black-eyed peas down the sink. So I'm turning on my heat about medium-high, and I'm going to stick in here an entire stick of butter. And I know that sounds like a lot, but I don't know, butter makes it taste good. I'm gonna caramelize the onions. I'm gonna toss these in there, and it's gonna take a little bit. I would say about 15 minutes, but the onions are gonna start to brown and smell really sweet, and that's gonna add so much flavor to the black-eyed peas. So I'm gonna let the butter melt, and then I'm gonna add the onions. So the onions have cooked down really well. So I'm gonna add some Slap Ya Mama. I usually pour the seasonings into the palm of my hand so I can kind of feel them. And you use however much you feel is right for you and whatever seasonings you like. Again, measure with your heart. Add your seasonings in like to the onions and the butter and give it a little stir because most spices are fat soluble. So toasting them a little bit in the fat actually brings out the flavor really well. So here I have the bones from the roast. I'm gonna stick that in. It's gonna give the beans really good flavor. And give it a little good so I don't get water all over my floor. And again, I'm using the actual colander as a cane, essentially, to make sure I'm gonna pour directly into the pot. So all the beans are in there. I'm gonna give this a stir, and then I'm going to add enough water to cover the beans. And how you're going to know that's happened is as you're stirring, you're gonna have less resistance. And that's how I can usually tell that everything is fully covered. So I'm gonna do that now. Okay, so the black-eyed peas are all covered, and you are just going to cook this till they're done. It's gonna take a good amount of time. I'll let y'all know how long it took when we're all finished. But you may also have to come give it a stir so nothing sticks to the bottom, and add more chicken broth if it starts to get dry. So that's it for the beans. So the timer just went off on the bread. I'm gonna go around in here. And I have a towel folded up long ways on my counter. And you just really have to learn your kitchen to know where everything is. So set the bread down, and I have a butter knife that I'm just going to insert in the middle. I also use the butter knife as a cane. Yeah, and it came out clean. I just feel the end of it came out clean. So what I'm going to do is let this cool for 10 to 15 minutes, and then I am going to run this butter knife around all of the sides, and then I'm gonna flip it out onto a cooling rack. I thought I would make a glaze, but I don't think I will. I think we'll just have glasses of eggnog with this. And this is our dessert, apple butter coffee cake. Now I'm going to make Instant Pot mashed potatoes. This is the easiest way to do mashed potatoes if you ask me. So I washed all my potatoes, scrubbed them really good. I'm not peeling them. You can peel them if you want to. I don't have time and I don't care. I think it adds nutrition. So what I'm going to do is cut the potato long ways, hot dog style, in half. And then each half I'm going to cut into quarters. And I'm going to toss that into my Instant Pot liner. And after I cut all my potatoes, I am going to add 1 cup of cold water. And I'm going to set my Instant Pot for 10 minutes on high pressure. And that will cook the potatoes really well. And they won't have any of those like mealy pieces in there. And after that's done, I'll show you what I add to the potatoes to make them delicious. So the potatoes are done, but I did want to tell you I did go ahead and get dressed. I'm just wearing black leggings and a blue oversized sweater, and I have my rose gold aura ring and my wedding ring and just my gold, I have a gold heart necklace with little diamonds on it. And then my hair, I have ginger hair and it's wavy and down. And then I have pretty basic makeup with a little bit of sparkly eyeshadow. So now for the potatoes, I melted a stick of butter. It's not fully melted, but it's good enough. So I'm gonna Pop that in there. I like to melt it just so it doesn't bring the temperature of the potatoes too cold. And then I've got some heavy whipping cream. So I'm gonna measure with my heart. You know, you can always add more, but you can never take away. So I'm gonna go ahead and smush with the potato smusher. And it's a huge pot, so it'll take me a while. And I'll add salt and pepper as we go too. Here's the potatoes all done. My husband blended some elbow grease, but they're rustic like smushed potatoes. Love them, delicious. And I want to thank y'all for joining me today, and I specifically want to thank all of the veterans. I appreciate your service so very much. And until next time, happy homemaking.